Hey big fans, and welcome to Trick Bakery, where all our jokes are half baked. I'm Jacob, it's Space Month, and I'm gonna show you a space mock. NASA is preparing to send their next rover to Mars in 2020. Meanwhile, the Bakersfield Space Agency is also preparing their own rover. The Bakersfield Space Agency Mars Rover has landed on a very great part of Mars, it seems, and that is pretty unusual. But then again, the Bakersfield Space Agency is a pretty unusual organization. Compared to the other rovers from the new space exploration series that's centered around Mars exploration, this particular rover isn't in minifigure scale. And it's probably the first time I've ever built something that wasn't necessarily in minifigure scale. Even so, I did pack it full of different kinds of functions, and I really look forward to showing you guys everything I've done. As you can see, I have tried to keep to the color scheme of the new space exploration theme, because I think it's a great scheme. I like how the white, the light gray and the orange go together in a wonderful way. And I've also tried to approach a certain level of realism in this mock. I've taken inspiration from the real world Mars Rovers and the LEGO Mars Rovers as well. Even so, I did include a function that is definitely not in real world Mars Rovers, and I'll show you that in just a minute. I've gone for a 6-wheeled approach with this one, as that is what is usually on Mars Rovers in the real world. And I've used Technic pins and Technic bricks to make a working suspension. And that's why you see the wheels pointing every which way. On the front, this rover has a robotic arm that can be used for lifting up small samples and rocks from the Mars surface. And taking a look at the front directly, we can see that there is some lights both here on the sides and a couple of small round lights here in front, which can be used to light up the rover's way when it is in the dark. Towards the back, there's a couple of solar panels that can be used to charge the batteries of this rover, so it has a very long lifespan on Mars. And here on the back, I've borrowed a small drone from the 226 Mars Research Shuttle, which can actually fly away like this. And it can be reattached like this. And I'm fairly certain that this kind of vehicle, this kind of drone, isn't something that exists in the real world just yet. However, I am pretty sure that researchers have found that the Mars atmosphere is dense enough to support aerodynamic lift. So in the future, we might see drones like this fly around Mars and support their rover vehicles. Who knows? On top, there is this head which contains a couple of video cameras, an infrared sensor, a couple of antennas to communicate with the Earth, and the capability of turning 360 degrees to give a good view of the planet, and can also bend to have a better view of the ground. For the robotic arm, I've used some of these ball and joint 2x1 modified bricks, and I think these are great. These are really great because of the high rigidity that makes it possible to make this arm plays itself in every which way and makes it very, very flexible and versatile. I think this is a very, very cool way to build, and I wonder if I can use this technique in other ways as well. These ball and joint connectors was actually featured very recently in a newer issue of Blocks magazine. I think it's a great idea to use these for all kinds of purposes, and I think I saw someone in there who'd used these ball and joint connectors to make a ruin that was crumbling. That looked very, very cool indeed. So I think there's a lot of great uses for these. And it was only very recently that I realized that there's a difference between these Technic pins. Some of them have a high rigidity and others have a low rigidity, which means that these wheels are kind of stuck. They move a little more cumbersome than if I've used some of the gray pins because they have a lower rigidity than the black ones. That's news to me, and I really like playing around with it for this particular MOC. The docking bay for the drone doesn't contain any kind of locking mechanism, so it can actually fall out pretty easily, which is kind of annoying, but I haven't really figured out how to do some kind of lock yet. Maybe some kind of modified 1x2 with a clip on it or something like that. If you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments below. Making the head and have it function with a tipping and a turning isn't as hard as it may seem. I've used one of those turny plates for this part right here, and I've used one of those bendy things down here. And to make sure that the robotic arm can actually turn, I've used some of these curved 1x2s right here. And these are very, very handy for a design like this. All things considered, I am pretty satisfied with this, even though it does have that little disadvantage of no locking mechanism for the drone. Besides that, I am pretty satisfied with all the detail that I've managed to cram into this one. Using a lot of different bricks really helps to make details, and I think I can utilize some of the things that I've learned in this one for other MOCs. Of course, it does have its disadvantages, mainly the wheels here, which come off rather easily. I guess it's lucky that there's 6 of them. As I said, this rover is inspired by real-world rovers. And if you don't know, NASA is sending their next rover to Mars in 2020. And on NASA's Twitter account, you can read the following. Our Mars 2020 rover is gearing up for its 7-month journey to the Red Planet, and you can send your name along for the ride. Get your boarding pass at go.nasa.gov/Mars2020pass. And that's just what I did. I have gotten a boarding pass aboard the Mars 2020 rover. So the Brick Bakery name is going to Mars in 2020. You can of course do the same if you want to, but I think it is pretty cool to think that the Brick Bakery name is now going to Mars. That was the Bakersville Space Agency Mars Rover, which is a MOC I really like doing. It's not often I do something that doesn't include minifigures or even do something that isn't to minifigure scale, but this one I really like doing because it has a lot of interesting work in it. I liked trying to use some of these Technic pins and such, which I think I'll be doing more of in the future. But what do you think about it? Do you like it? Is it realistic? Whatever you think about it, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll be happy to hear all your thoughts. But that's all for me today. I hope you'll comment, like, and subscribe, and I hope I'll see you guys next Monday.